it wasn't like I didn't want to bond with my son at a young age. I was so being busy trying, and you realize at the time you're putting into the songs, the traveling up and down, money's great, but time is better.
So how would you feel about your children getting into the music industry?
I don't want them to. All the things that I've bared my soul, blood, sweat, tears into this industry, I do not want that for my child.
The Parent Playbook. The Parent Playbook.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Parent Playbook by Triad. This is a space for real conversation about parenting and careers. It's not a highlight reel, it's not none of that fake Instagram shit. You're gonna get a real, authentic version of what real parents are really going through. We're here to talk about the mental load, the invisible stuff, and the thinking and the remembering, and all of the stuff that nobody really clocks. There's no manual, there's no instructions, just a purple print. Real parents and real parenting hacks. And today I am joined by a colossal guest who I'm very privileged to be sat next to. I'm not going to sing his songs, okay? I'm not going to start singing his songs, but I really feel like I could. But I am joined by the famous, infamous,
wow.
Okay, Maxwell D.
Thank you for having me.
We need a studio audience, and that's when they start. So introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you're best known for.
Okay, so my name is Maxwell D. I'm a proud father of 3, and I have been in the music industry for the last 26 years, and mainly known for my first track that I delivered in the industry called Don't Let Me Get Serious. Everyone should give me £1 for every time they say it.
That.
I'll be rich.
It's a hashtag. It's a hashtag.
Yeah,
it's
basically.
Hashtag.
So yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. I couldn't decline. I had to.
It's strange sitting next to you in this capacity because before I even got into music, it's just like we've seen you at all the raves, singing all the music, and it's crazy to think that. Yeah,
here we are, just a normal setting.
It's just a very normal setting
chilled.
And a really great conversation we're about to have.
I can't wait.
We started talking before the camera started rolling.
We did, we got into it, we was getting spicy into conversation, oh my Lord.
But yeah, we're gonna get into it now. So let's start. Like, I wanna really talk about how you managed having a child in the earlier stages of your career. Now, I had my daughter at, I would say, like the middle tail end of my career. So
how old would you say when you had your daughter?
I had my daughter at 34.
Oh, that's
and
older than me.
I'd already been in the industry a decade by then. Yeah. So I'd already done, a lot of stuff, so I kind of knew how to navigate. Whereas where you entered the scene, you entered it in a time where you were the pioneers.
We were early. It was
very early. Yeah. So how did you find that?
Yeah, I think for me, this is a really good question actually. So when I come into the music industry, I was just like fierce and hungry off the street, road. This ex-road man has gone into the music industry with all these suits and ties, and I'm just like coming with my raw energy, and we're getting through, and I'm making progress. I'm making legal money. No one's not got to kick off my door, and that's it. We're just in there, and we're in the thick of things, and I'm just bringing my street energy and stuff like that. So I would say that, I got did I have any nieces? I had one niece at the time, so I didn't really have loads of nieces and nephews. Children for me was not in my mindset at the time when I come to the music industry. It was just about me. Mm-hmm. And so let's say after all the first early trials and tribulations of the music industry, becoming famous, becoming successful, going into the national charts, making a lot of money, buying the penthouses, the cars, the jewels, great. But, dealing with all the backlash of the music industry, all the declines and all the, negativity that comes with, being a pop star at the time or whatever, then getting to the ages of like 27, 28, having my first child, my son, that's when I experienced love.
Okay. That's
when I could absolutely say unconditional love. But a flip side of it, it was like all my trauma caught up with me.
Okay.
It was like me running away in the music was like an escape to put all my trauma and, getting through all the stuff that I've been through in my past as a, being in foster care and going to prison and doing all that stuff. To having my firstborn was like, oh my God, I'm going to love this child to death. Like, this is it. Like, anything, I'm going to lick off. I want it. Any help he said. So that was what introduced me to love.
Okay. And it's nice to hear you poise it like that. And I think lot of the time when I speak to people that don't have children, it's like there's a thing inside of me that wants to say, no, but when you have children, everything's going to change. And then I fight myself because I remember being that person that didn't have kids, and I felt like I'm fine without kids.
Yeah, you do
it doesn't define me. It's not going to be the making of me because I'm already doing all the things.
Exactly.
And then I had my daughter.
And what happened?
And I was like,
It blew.
no.
The love just exploded inside.
what? And I feel like as they get older, you see a version of yourself in real time, which is the strangest, it's the strangest thing. Like, she was doing something and I must have said to my husband, oh, she's so funny, man. She's hilarious. And he looked at me and said, that's because you like yourself, because she's exactly like you. You find your own shit funny. That's why you're finding her funny. And I was like,
I love that.
I do, because I do find myself funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like, it's nice. And it's nice to hear a father's version as well. Because, love is an underrated word. It
is. I feel it's unconditional as well. No matter what your child does, no matter what they turn out to be or whatever they do, you're going to love them regardless. I mean, we was like at the Moses basket, like with the air, he's breathing, he's breathing, like, making sure I was jumping up, you know what I mean? It wasn't even a bad experience. I mean, the pregnancy was quite interesting, like the kicking stage, like, oh my God, he's kicking, like, you know what I mean? Like, I said he was a boy she told me she was pregnant. I was like, yes, boy. Like, I was manifesting that regardless. Could have come out a girl and be like, look, it's a boy.
I know.
So we called him, we gave him his name straight away from the first, you know what I mean? His name's Kamani. I was like, yep. After the Bob Marley's, one of the sons of Bob Marley. So we was like, yeah, Kamani. So we call Kamani Mild, I think his name is, but we just called him Kamani. So I was like, right. Kamani, so I was calling him Kamani from the stomach. Okay. So when he used to kick, I'd be like, yes, Kamani. And he'll kick and whatever. So that was interesting. The pregnancy was very interesting, Unfortunately, my son's mum, she lost her mum while she was 3 months pregnant. Wow. So so there was a lot of that going on behind the scenes. So I have to be like very, try to be supportive through the pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And then when we got into the labour room, he was breached.
Oh my days.
Yeah, so imagine you're just going through the pregnancy, like your first pregnancy now, your first child's coming, and you're like, yeah, and don't want you got this. And she was like, it was funny, she sucked out the gas in there. Like, forget gas in there, the bottles went boom. Like, it was just like boom, boom, the bottles are flying. Then it was like, time for the epidural and all the rest of it. And then when, she was pushing, the woman was coming in, she was like, no. And you can see them all talking to themselves.
Yeah,
and they're doing all that. And you're like, and they're like, right, you got to sign this. And I'm thinking, sign what? You have to sign a thing to say, yeah. And I'm like, so by that time, the blood left my body. And I tell you, I didn't smoke at that particular time. Yeah. But all I remember, the woman looked at me. I felt really, really dizzy when I found out we're going to have a C-section. She was like, are you all right? Do you need a cup of tea? I was like, yeah. Please. Give me a cup of tea. I went outside, I had a fag. Literally, I had a blatant fag. Yeah. I was just like puffing on it. And then, we got dressed up. I got dressed up.
Yeah,
and
then in your
robes. And I watched the C-section. It was like a horror movie, a happy horror movie. Yeah? I remember one time I peeked over the curtain and I just saw bloods and the stomach was just like, I was like, yeah. A real life happy horror movie. And I just heard push. Pull. Say not push, pull. And then that moment of him coming out, it just felt like slow-mo. Over to the counter, where they lay him down, and you're waiting, you're looking at him, holding her hand, she's crying, I'm got a look of tears dropping down, and we're just waiting for him to just make that sound, and it's like, and it just like, and then like the tears flow, So that for me, nothing will ever beat that birth and that moment. It's you know what I mean?
It's funny you talk about C-section. I didn't have a C-section. I had a normal birth, but my cousin just had twins just before Christmas, and she was going to have them like vaginally without the C-section. And then in the moment, anyway, as you said, it all changes, and then it was. They come with a form, and then all of a sudden, they're putting and then the dad's putting his thing on, and then everybody had left this room, and I was just left in the room, like, because only 2 people can go in, so I'm left in this room. No one's in there. It's just me. My cousin's gone, and I'm like, what? She needs to come back alive. Of course. Like
everything's gone.
There's no one here. The C-section is happening without me, and I'm glad. After your rendition of this the love horror movie, I'm glad.
You were not. Like, I weren't gonna peek. But you just want to know what's going on. You're hearing all this shoveling and mothering, and you're just like, all right. And then looking over, I was like, woo. Yeah, I won't look again. I looked once. There was not another look. I was just like, so.
Okay, so all right, so the births happened.
Yeah.
You're in love with your son.
Absolutely.
Named him.
Yes.
You've got a bond because you was already bonding from outside the belly.
From the belly, yeah.
Which is a unique experience. Some men don't get that. It
was a lot.
Some men
He used to
actually
kick a lot.
struggle to bond with the
it,
baby because, I don't know, but it's just I don't know why, but some men do. They have this thing.
I didn't know that.
Google, do your Googles,
Okay,
all your ChatGPT. There is a thing. So you're very fortunate to have that. But fast forward to your first performance as a dad, because it's different, right?
Yeah.
Because you're leaving your
Show
son.
me the money. Absolutely. I think, I don't know. Do you know what? I feel like I had a bit more compassion for people, a bit more patience.
Yes.
I felt like I matured a bit, but I was very about my bread. I was like, right, I got a mouth to feed.
Yeah.
I feel like to be fair, that is when MySpace was around.
Okay.
And that's when I met my best friend today, who lives in Los Angeles, a producer, who opened me up to Hollywood. And that was the reason why I was grinding, because actually, my son's mum was an air stewardess.
Okay.
So before, before pregnant, I used to get ID 90s, and I used to travel around, fly around the world with her. And when she used to go and work wherever, so I got a cheap ID 90 to go to Los Angeles because I met my friend on MySpace. And I remember going shopping for my son, and literally, for me, I was thinking the world. I was just like my scope of dreaming big. So when I performed as a father, I just remember having that real responsibility. Like, yo, I'm not doing this just for me no more.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for
him.
So it made me really tighten up my gap, and then come Blackberry Hype. Literally, that's how much I was driving myself into my career again, to actually get myself another hit.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And how many songs do you think would you say you've done in between? Because
millions.
Thousands. there's
a whole
thing that comes
book.
along. Did you?
I done about 20, 30 funky freestyles. That was my whole thing. I was like, what, this funky thing's really... I heard your songs and stuff like that were outside. Other funky songs are outside. And even though I'm from another genre, I was like, yeah, man, this sounds like garage. So I'm like, this can go on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was on everybody's instrumentals.
I think people think that when you have a song that does really, really well, that it's the only song you've ever done.
No.
And nobody really talks about the 100 of songs that sit on your hard drive.
Absolutely.
The ones that you do, like, you must have had this experience where you're in the studio, you're making a banger, and it's a banger. And then you go back and listen to it the next day, and you're like, what the hell was that? Nobody really talks about all of those moments. I remember when Twitter first came out, and Wiley was having an issue with his label, and he just uploaded a zip file with like 100 songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And said, have that.
Yeah,
and
he didn't care. He didn't care.
And I remember thinking, how you, like, that must be the best feeling in the world, because we do all of these songs, and every song you do as an artist, you love.
Of course,
you
we
love
get
the
attached
process.
to it.
And then,
for about 30 days.
And then
we hate it.
And then it's like, what is this? But it's like, you feel like not every song gets a chance.
No.
And that feeling of having, like, making all of these creative products and no one ever getting to hear them. And I remember watching him do that and think, I wish I had the guts to just let go of everything I'd recorded previously and then just starting again.
Yeah.
Because it must feel kind of...
It does. I mean, I was flinging them out Raggo and Sunspace. I was just like, yo, DJs, funky DJs, any DJs, house DJs, whoever's out there, who can hear me? Is anybody there? One of them, well, have it. And that's what literally kind of brought on the Blackberry Hype, because like, I was doing so many freestyles on funky instrumentals that when I heard the Little Silver different thing, I was like, oh, yeah. I just went home and I just pressed record and I just literally freestyled the tune because I got a BlackBerry phone. Okay. I was so gassed to get a phone. I was pay as you go for so long that when I got a flipping contract, I was gassed. I was like, oh my God, I'm in. And then I ended up doing a song that it was a time, and the phones were out.
Did BlackBerry ever reach out to you?
I tried to reach out to Motion,
really?
But they were like, no, sorry, everyone's got the phones now, it's too late.
Not interested. Yeah.
So I done a drink. So I ended up doing a BlackBerry Hype energy drink. And then I was going around to the shows with my energy drink. Oh, wow. And it was like, so yeah, I learned a lot of stuff of them even declining me. You know what I mean? So, and all that was at the time when my son was like 1, 1.5, you know what I mean? Being a father. But I was like, I learned a lot about that period because I was so trying to provide, because I'm like, you know what it's like, when you ain't got a hit song, you're unemployed. That's what it is. So when you got a hit song, you're like, rah, I got bookings, I got show, I'm up and down, I'm in Scotland, I'm in Europe, I'm doing so many shows, Napa, back-to-backs, Mali, whatever. And then, but you got family. So then you're not realizing that you're leaving, you know, your partner to kind of like do the graft, and you're not sharing the family moments. And I didn't learn. I mean, I learned afterwards, but that was the most vital points of maybe bonding as a family.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then on the flip side, it's like, well, you know who you're with.
But do you think as well that a lot of it has got to do with, you know, growing up in like the 80s and the 90s was a different time, and we were kind of programmed into man must provide and the mum must look after the kids. So with that in mind, it's like you're doing your best version of what that looks like, because you have to provide with the tools that you have. Whereas I think in like 2026, times have changed.
Absolutely.
Mums are in the workspace, they have careers. There are a lot of mums that are actually chief income, you know, and dad is working. And it's like now we're realizing that no, this takes two at home as well as it takes two in the workplace, because not many people can survive on one income now.
What, with these bills, are you crazy? The cost of living, it's a lot. Stay away from London, guys. Stay away from London. It's a lot.
It is.
If you're trying to, you know, do something, because you know how it is, people working and then the bills and stuff like that. So yeah, two people in the household is very important.
So what would you say you would do differently now, understanding that your partner would have probably had an invisible load of stuff to do that you just didn't know about? A, because you was on the road, but B, because it just wasn't traditionally for a man to do, you know?
That as well. I'd feel like, for me, now looking back, it takes two to raise a child. It doesn't, I mean, there are, you know, you got to release the woman. When I say release the woman, I mean as in, because that's what you got to like release her. She needs, and also you need that one-to-one bond time with your child. And I mean, you know, it wasn't like I didn't want to bond with my son at a young age. I was so being busy trying, and you realize at the time you're putting into the songs, the traveling up and down, money's great, but time is better. You know, time is always going to outshine the money.
You could never get the time back.
So don't get me wrong, I was around and we spent a lot of time, but there are times when, you know, we're going to the park and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm in the park. Like, yes. And this is like, come on. You know, come on the bike. And you're like, come on. And you're just like, wow, I know I want to go. Yeah, I got a show tonight. I need to get my hair cut. Like, you're trying to run the schedule and you just like, but you know what I realized? I needed to be present. You know, my mind wasn't present half the time. Like, my body was present, but my mind wasn't.
It's interesting when you explain it like that, because it sounds like you have your own version of the invisible load.
Yeah.
Okay, because that version there is like, and I don't know if that is a creative thing or the recording artist thing, because when there's a show, the day, like, people think, you get paid to be on stage for your 3.5 hours.
No, the day's a mental process.
The whole day is a countdown to the show.
Yeah, of course.
Like, in every, like, how many hours have I got? I've got 6 hours. Okay,
yes,
cool.
see, someone understands.
And then you're I'm laying in bed, relaxing. It's 6 hours, 4 hours, and then all of a sudden...
You can procrastinate as well. It's mad. By just thinking about what you got to do.
It's so hard. And then, as you said, it's like you're thinking about your trim, I'm thinking about the hair, I'm thinking about, back in the day, it was like my PA CD and the shoes and the thing. And then you're like, look at the time. If I leave now, I could get extra 5...
all of that.
And what used to happen to me a lot of the time is I'd be at the hotel in the city of where the show was, and I'll be like, I'll get a nap in. Let me get a quick nap, and then to get me up for that performance.
It's a lot. It was a lot. You're tired, and you got to hit the road.
Now I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking, adding a child on top of that, like, it is probably.
And you're I'm a first father.
First time.
Like, you know what I mean? My dad wasn't around when my mum, so, you know, they broke up my mum had me young. My mum had me at the age of 15. Okay. So I was raised by a teenager. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And my dad wasn't around. So, I didn't have no role models. I didn't have no one to kind of tell me, this is what you do when you become officer. So I'm just learning on the job.
Just having a go.
Yeah, and, you know, and now I look at it and I'm like, rah, like, I should have, like, not should have been there. I was there, but I understand more now as an older person, as a, you know, 3 times platinum father now. That you know what I'm saying? That the woman, this is what you call, you know, a joint parenting, like, in the household. And that for the first 3.5 before we broke up, I was outside. You know what I mean? But she needed that support, you know. So I learned from that.
It's really I don't know, it's just very refreshing to hear you explain it the way that you explain it. Because I think that there are probably a lot of parents that get to an age where they will just do a blame game instead of taking ownership over, do you know what I could have done differently? But I think it goes across, I think we all realise that as parents. Even me, when you're talking about the park, in my head I'm thinking, these men like to go bike riding. They're like, come on, mummy, we're going for bike ride. And I'm like, do you know what shit I got to do at home? And like, you want me riding around this park and you man are just going, and I'm like, and about like, it's not enjoyable. It doesn't feel enjoyable. But then there will be a day where I would long to go on the bike ride. You know, like I want to do that. Even now I can't go and take my daughter to the park and push her on a swing. Like she's 9. See? She ain't on that, bro.
Things change.
Oh, we've got the alarm clock going off. It's the Kizzy alarm. The Kizzy alarm is going. So yeah, we have the Kizzy question.
Okay.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I have a 9-year-old. You should know by now. You know, we are in season 3, and she's a very, like, she is the CEO of my company vibes, yeah? So anyway, I've told her I'm doing a podcast, and she wanted me to ask all the guests a question.
Okay.
And the question is, what is your most favourite hobby to do with your child or children? So obviously you have multiple children, so you might want to say something you enjoy with the older one and maybe something with one of the little ones. Well, not little, but younger.
I mainly only see my eldest.
Okay.
So it would be my eldest. So what do I like doing? Badminton I did like doing.
Oh, I love badminton.
Yeah, he gave us a good game of badminton. And what else do I like doing? We was good at playing computer, yeah.
Oh, really? What was your game?
Like our game would be Mortal Kombat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. If not Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. I tried to get him on the Street Fighter team. Okay. So like, yeah, those were the good hobby days. Now he's going to be 18 next week, so that went out the window. He has a girlfriend. He's going to uni soon, so it's all changed. It's all switched up now.
Transformation.
Like, yeah, the transformation's crazy. You know, they're driving lessons, everything. So. Yeah, I'm dealing with it.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, you'll get there. Another 9 years, and you're going to be in a whole different headspace.
Listen, and the way she acts like she's 25 already.
Trust me, she's going to be telling you how to do things.
She really does, honestly.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Like sometimes I'm looking and I'm like, what did she do the other day? She'd done something, and then my notes from my phone were on her iPad. And I'm like, how have you done this? And like, and then she started reading it, and I was doing something to do with work. So then she started reading it all out. I said, like, and then I had to go to ChatGPT and say, how do I get this off of her iPad? You know, like they're so savvy.
No, they're cool because they're born into this. So they get, it's a natural instinct for them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So how would you feel about your children getting into the music industry?
I don't want them to. Like, I all the things that I've bared my soul, blood, sweat, tears into this industry. I do not want that for my child. But my son, he's creative. He's going to uni for film and media. You know what I'm saying? So he's taken that part of the creativity out of me. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to end up. So I thought, yeah, you make movies. Yeah, that's not, you know what I mean? But even that's going to be a hard industry. Not hard, but it's going to be an industry for him to. He's going to have to climb through, but not the music industry.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you as well. A lot of people always say that. My daughter loves singing. She does everything. But I said to her, this is when she was 6. She's 6? Yeah, she wanted to do a song. And I said, okay, you can do the song, but you have to write the song yourself. Because if you're going to be a musician, you need to write your own music, because that's how you're going to make your money. And anyway, she wrote a song and we recorded it. I released it on Spotify for her. Wow. And she saw one royalty check. She got about 33p or something ridiculous. And she was over music, man. She was over it.
Mum,
she was over it. She said, is that it? And then she said, and then I showed her the listeners on Spotify. And she's like, I've only got 31 listeners. I'm like, you don't promote the song. Like, there's a whole, you don't just do a song and it goes. You know, like, so it was an amazing lesson for her to understand. If you're doing music because you love it, great. But you sound like you're doing it for the cash. And bro, there's hardly any cash in this this industry.
No,
like,
not
like that.
Not the way they've turned the technology. I remember going into EMI one day, a publisher, and they were introducing this whole iTunes thing. And I wish I paid more attention to what the guy was saying. But he was like, yeah, we're going to change over. And it's going to be this thing called iTunes, and Apple are doing this and Apple are doing that.
Yeah. But you're so lucky because you actually came out at a time pre-digital.
Yeah, with vinyl.
So when Funky was coming out, it was just a crossover. I done vinyl, but then my song, I didn't do a CD. No, it was just, iTunes I think had just launched.
Okay.
And then we literally just launched digitally. But no one was really, it was a really messed up time. We talk a lot with my funky house peers. A lot of us talk about the fact that we came out at it was a really strange time to release music because it was all brand new. So no one knew what they was doing. A lot of people didn't even have iTunes on their phone yet.
No.
It was just, it was crazy. So you're lucky that you had the experience of that. You know, today, if you release a record, now we're working backwards. You know, like before you would gear up towards a release. No. Now it's like you release.
Let it go, and then you got to do all the things. It is backwards because people have got, the attention spans are crazy out here. They don't, like, you could do that. It was coming in free too. No one cares. No one cares. Like, is it out today? Now. Can I get it now? Yeah, that's it. And so, because we're living in a now generation, you do that, and then you got to bleed it. You know what I mean? And even for us artists, I hate reposting the same stuff, but it's just what you got to do it because people are just like, they're clicking and not listening. That's what you got to realize. It's just like click, 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 click. So you might be seeing names, but trust me, those people ain't listening the way you think they're listening.
100 million%. And also, I feel like it's a bit of pride that stops us from the reposting and the keep posting.
Because we don't.
Kind of got to get over that.
You got to play the game. You know what I mean? The whole pushing, it just becomes a sad, like, Groundhog Day for us. But for the actual audience and that, it is like they're taking in information in clips.
Well, you know, before we was recording, I was talking to you about music, and I said, you know, like, I'm kind of done right now.
Yeah, I can't believe it, but I get it.
But one of the things that made me think about the music as well is, like, I like to really, if I'm going to apply myself, I'm going all in. And I was watching a video with the Molly May, Shake It to the Max.
Yeah.
And I was recording a project in Ghana, and one of the producers that worked with her told me about the song. It's the first time I heard it. And he said, it's going viral now. And he said she would film the song everywhere she went.
Everywhere.
She filmed over 300 videos for TikTok before one took off.
I know.
And I thought to myself,
that's dedication.
300 videos.
Yeah.
I've got to cook. I have to pick up my daughter. I'm building a tech company.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
I'm doing a podcast.
They've made it like slave mindset to really get out here.
Videos. Yeah. And then I would never like to say it's a young man's game because I feel like being young is neither.
When they say young man, they mean young man's energy.
Bro, young man's energy, young man's time, young man's schedule. Bro, you're probably living at home, you ain't got no bills.
Majority.
You're latching onto someone's Wi-Fi to you Snapchat your friend. Yeah. Like, it's a different ball game when you are providing for a child.
Yeah.
That you choose to put your time in places where your ROI is a little bit more certain.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was am I going to do 300 videos? And it's not 300 videos now because you've already done 300, which means I've got to do 500 because you have to raise the bar.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to keep going. And honestly, I do the reels and I was like, well, I'm speaking to certain camera people, media people, and they're like, yeah, Max, I'm going to charge you. I'm just like, so I'm going to be spending money with all of these people and the return, like, you know what I mean, there is no return until you bust. You know what I'm saying? Like wife or bust. Yeah, but until you actually make, like, cross over or that you can get somewhere. And all of that investment on yourself, like, I'm like, listen, I'll just take out my iPhone. Yeah, I know we've got to do with quality and whatever, but I am getting out my iPhone or get out my Digi, and we are just going to make it happen ourselves because you're still going to hear the same song.
Yeah.
So I'd rather work with, a little bit on a budget basis and then just feeding people's pockets just to make myself look.
But that's how she done it. That girl never had no crew. She had her phone. Every chance she had, she popped out the phone and she recorded a video.
And there we go.
And the one that she didn't even plan, it was just a joke. They're all messing around. That's the one that went viral.
But this is what I say.
But she had the time to do that. I'm not.
No, when you're a family and mum and that, that's what I say to you. I was talking earlier and I was saying that married life, I'll convince myself to, like, right, this is it. I want a family. I'm gonna this. I'm gonna watch these.
How old was you when you got married?
I was 40. I got married the day after my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, I literally got married day after my birthday in Cornwall. And I was, like, adamant that this was gonna be my future.
I know I'm laughing, but because you already told me the story, it's like you have to share it. You have to explain the rationale behind what marriage looked like in your head versus what the experience
for me, like, as I said, well, still talking to you earlier when I said that with men, sometimes it gets to a point where you have so much trials and tribulations, there's a clock that just goes, ding, I want to get married. Okay. Like, and it doesn't really necessarily matter what person that you're married. It's like, I'm ready to settle down. So if that person seems to, like, tick all the boxes, you're like, but you're not really like going through it properly. Like, are they compatible with this? Are they compatible with that? Is it my real person? Are we really gonna? You just assume. So that's why sometimes you have to learn the person before you jump in and want to marry the person. But I was just like adamant that this is it. This person, I'm falling in love. I'm gonna marry this person the rest of my life. And then so for me, I thought that marriage was like gonna be love and support. So if you marry the right person, this is me not putting anyone off marriage.
Yeah.
You gotta marry the right person, right? So if you marry the wrong person, you could be. It went from
it's that honeymoon period to
honeymoon
devastation.
period to like, wow, okay, EastEnders, okay, Coronation Street, or okay, we watch Celebrity Big Brother, okay, Celebrity Big Brother, okay, Love Island, and then before you know it, like you're in a routine, and then oh, you like dogs, okay, that's dogs your thing. I met you, you had a dog, and then now I'm gonna get a dog because I love you. I'm gonna try compromise, and like you want a dog, let's get a dog. And then you're trying to, then you realize, and that's the responsibility. I don't want them. Then it's like, okay, I got boundaries. Like the dog's not allowed to come on the sofa. It's not allowed. Then the dog's on the sofa. Then the dog's upstairs. And then you're like, and then it just the person that your marriage life that you thought you was gonna have with that person is just not going that way, and they got their own version of what they feel like the marriage should be, and then it doesn't work, and then. Me awakening in the marriage and like, actually, this is not who I am. Yeah. Like I might love this person, but this is not who I am. And having that even in a marriage is hard because you want to fulfill your dreams, and we both look at the world different. So when you do get married, you really got to share the same values, the same goals. And it takes a lot. So
I feel like there is definitely a version of that they paint of marriage, what it looks like from the outside. And I think even when you're locked in with the right person, I still feel like you're going to face an immense amount of
men and women. It's trials and tribulations.
Exactly.
Like I understand.
And added
I've got 5 sisters, by the way. Yeah, I've got 5 sisters. So women are knowledgeable. There's a book that we don't understand. There's a lot of chapters that are not even in there. They don't even know it's in there.
100%.
Like, I feel like women absolutely are still figuring themselves out biologically as they get older, as they go through.
Well, this is what I was going to say. What happens is, and I'm no marriage guru, but what I feel like from what I've seen and a lot of the married couples that are around me is that we're all growing and evolving. And what's happening is you could just be evolving at a different time and a different space. So you grow into somebody else, not just because you're married, but because you're getting older. And you actually just grow into someone else anyway. And what happens, I think, is that people either grow together or they grow separately. And if they're growing separately and there's no communication, then that adds to the stress.
Along with the trust, the loyalty and the support and all of that stuff. So I believe that sometimes there's a recipe, red flags from both sides from early, and we miss them. And, there might be red flags on my side and red flags on her side, and you miss them, and you just want to love the person, you just want to be with them, and you get attached, and then it's an attachment thing. And then, that's why I say that marriage is not something that I would tell anybody to just run and jump into. Yeah. You got to know your person. And that's my lesson from
it. I know the person, but also understand that person could change. Yes. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things.
Yes, change is number one.
I haven't really talked about.
No, people changing, you meet someone at the beginning and, you're growing. And for me, I feel like I changed. And she might have a completely different version, whatever, that's cool. But I know that I changed along the years. When I first, because it was like, when we first got together, you was cooking and you was doing all this stuff. Like, they might see it as love bombing, you get me? And I was like, no, I was just so happy to be here. They're coming to, I was so happy to be married. I was like, this is my future. And then, you get into the real life and it's like, you get on my nerves.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Nah, bruv. Not feeling. Nah. And then that could start being cement over the years. 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Builds up resentment.
Right.
Yeah. No.
And then you're just like, actually.
But this is why I say it's like when you are joining with anybody, from one of the values for me is understanding that if you change, it's okay. And also, if you change and you need to leave, that is also okay. Because who we are at 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, you're going to be all different people. And those two people at that stage in their lives, they might not just want to fuck with each other anymore. And that is okay.
That is okay.
And that is why the communication has to be A1, because then you wouldn't have the fallout Do you know what I mean?
This is what
I don't think anyone's mastered that. I don't think I've mastered that. I'm not going to lie.
I know.
But I feel
But you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head, like, understanding. That's why I call this my album, which is out on Sunday. Quick plug. Our album is out on Saturday, which is called Emotional Intelligence. And that's the name of the album, because even trying to write from a perspective of where I am today, and even I put a lot of some of the relationship stuff in there that on my side of the fence that I felt that was happening, and trying to explain my stuff. And there's a track in there called Love Yourself. And I realized that, as you said, people change. Being with somebody that, if they're not really loving themselves that much, how can you expect them to love you?
100%.
So that was one of the key tracks in it. And so learning them, and it's okay. And even how we split, divorce and stuff like that, it was really harsh. It was very cold. It was very, we don't speak no more. We separated and instant divorce papers. And it was just like that feeling. It was horrible. So I've learned now, obviously at the time I was upset and hurt and whatever, but as I got older, I've learned that was just who they are. That's how they deal with things is who they are. And then how I have dealt with things, who I am like. So I'm like, we just got to understand, to learn to accept people for who they are, and learn that, we've outgrown each other and we're just different people. We wasn't meant to align. We just wasn't meant to be.
Exactly, 100 million.
You know what I mean?
And it's tough. I feel like especially when you grow up with there's no traditional, like you describe your early childhood, very similar to mine. It's like just mom, no dad.
Yes, of course.
Young parents. My mum had me when she was 19. My mum was white. Yeah. She had her own challenges and everything. And then you're witnessing, which is conceived broken, because it's not a traditional nuclear family. So then you grow up and you think, I want this. I need a nuclear family. I want the bridal shower. I want the family, I want the white picket fence. And then you're in it and you're thinking, the fuck is
it's this. I haven't signed up for this shit.
I need to sign up. And it's like, I said, I had my mum, I said something, I can't remember, I was talking to my mum about something, and it was something to do with my daughter. And I said, I was going to check with her dad. And she went, yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't never have to go and check with no, I didn't have to check with no one. It's a single parent.
Absolutely.
And in my head, it's like, I think maybe years ago, I could have probably agreed with her. But now I look at it and I think, yeah, but it's not really, you didn't have to deal with someone else. I didn't have a dad, which means I was robbed of a situation because of whatever your circumstances were, but I was robbed of having synergy in having a father figure because you were happy to be the sole provider. This doesn't even make sense to me. So I'm listening and I'm thinking, okay, that's your defense mechanism because you didn't have a partner. But there are certain things that I would rather negotiate with her dad than her not have a dad, because watching
mums take note, listen to the gems.
Watching my daughter with her father,
this is special.
I've like my daughter. So my mom's got a dog. I'm not a dog lover.
Yeah.
Okay. The dog has bit somebody.
Under duress, I was a dog lover. So under duress.
Under duress, yeah. You're a half dog lover. A dog was underneath your bed in your bedroom. You are a dog lover, yeah. So she
and that's no shade, you know. That's no shade.
My mom has been just bitten someone, and I said to my daughter, "Oh, are you like scared of the dog because it bit someone?" She said, "No, I ain't scared of that dog." I said, "Oh, you're not scared of him?" She goes, "No." I was like, "Okay." And she said, "He knows who my dad is." I said, "Oh, the dog did your dad is." She said, "Yeah, he knows who my dad is. If he bites me, my dad will smash that dog." In my head, I'm dying laughing. So I'm thinking, the dog don't know. Don't discriminate. He's biting him, he's biting. But the beautiful thing for me was seeing you are so protected by your dad that you feel like you're confident anywhere you go. Because you know, my dad's got my back, and my dad will kill anyone that.
But see how special that is as a mother to understand that, and I think a lot of women get overprotective. As another song on my track on my album about my children, and it's called "How Would You Feel?" You know what I mean? And it's explaining like, how would you feel if you gave life and you was told that you couldn't preserve it? You know what I'm saying? That song is so deep. And my youngest son, I didn't see him to the age of 6. I didn't meet him. He lives in America. I didn't meet him to the age of 6. And it's like, what for me, no matter if the dad's not violent, and I know we all bicker, and I know, you know, because even on my side of the fence, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, how you can't just...
We ain't perfect.
We ain't perfect, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's about the child. And as long as there's rooms to, you know, what does a mother get over blocking the father? So that's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother...
No,
but when I hear you talking, I think that a lot of mothers should just want to take that approach for the child. Just for the child.
And I have a lot of male friends, and I am surrounded by some fucking great dads. And I've seen some dads go through spend some cash just to see their children. And I can't understand, I can't understand the version. I can't understand the version where you wouldn't want your child to have a relationship with their dad.
But I think a lot of women, everyone has their own reasons and have their own versions. But I just think, to me personally, it's an excuse. It's always down to...
Well, I think if the dad wants... There's some dads that don't want to...
This is what I don't understand. Those guys. I don't get those guys. So I understand, why do I get put in the pot with those guys? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I take it personal. Like, why? I know dudes like that. Nah, I'm over it. But me sitting down here and being very vulnerable, very honest, I've tried. My youngest is 9 and my daughter is 11, and I've tried. And I'm over it now. Okay. Like, I'm over trying. Like, people are like, yo, you can go this. I'm just done. And because for my mental health, I was making me sick. It was making me sick. Yeah. Emotionally sick though. And people don't see that side of it. I'm outside performing, got a career, I've got another child to raise.
What rendering, man.
Yeah, and then it rips you apart. Yeah. And all the up and down, seeing them, not seeing them, that's too much for me. So
also it's too much for them. It's like imagine a child having to be like, is he coming? And the is he coming is not because of him. It's because of whatever the situation is. And then all of a sudden you just don't, it's a lot.
I just feel that women, if you are going to have, children with men, understand that if you and that guy was to fall out, would you still be able to co-parent with that? I think that's before you get pregnant, understand, do I even going to be able to be friends with this guy? Because not everyone, as long as it doesn't end violent, and you have to put any restraints on that, I just don't see, we all fall out.
If it's not, it's not a detriment to the child.
We fall out with our brothers and sisters. Everyone falls out with their friends and that. So that's just natural life. So I understand we've got to put that aside and just deal with the love for the child. Put on your business game face and be like, right, I'm putting on dad hat, I'm putting on mum hat. We're going to smile in front of the cameras, which is in front of your child, to put on the love and do it and make the bond happen.
It's hard. It's a tough one because at the same time as having the woman make those decisions, it's the same as the man as well. When you lay down with a woman, you have to know who is this woman.
Take it to church. Take it with you. It's listen. I take the accountability. I take it and worship, badge of honor. No, you know why? Because I'm going to teach my son. Yeah, strap up. Yeah. We are going to get sponsored by Joe. Yeah? We are going to get sponsored by Joe. All right, son. No, but honestly, that's how I look at it. Like, I've done the blame game. I've done the whole thing of, in my head, that's the thing about what makes you sick. Like the guilt. Yeah. The guilt that you live with, like, I can't believe that. Why did I make the one decision? What's wrong with me? Like, you love, you're not moving. Where did I not get the guidance? Like, so I could be greatest guy on stage. I could be a great partner, great whatever, but making the wrong decision. Where was that emotional intelligence? You know what I'm saying? How can you not see the red flags? Like,
but how can you see the red flags at the same time? Because you're living life.
Yeah.
And no one's running towards somebody saying, show me the red flags. You see the great in everybody.
Nah.
Do you know?
In my scenario, I think one of them, I definitely could have. There was red flag that they usually.
Maybe but I think there, but people.
No, I think for me it was, and also things that are not planned. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, not planned. But then it's down to, you should have worked on them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so we need to teach people, don't get caught up in the moment. Yeah. The pull-out game is a lie. It's a myth. Like, I'm a pull-out game. No, it's a myth. Yeah? Just be safe and practice safe sex. Yeah? And then no one's got to blame. And things will happen, things that can, bust and whatever, all the rest of it. But 9 times out of 10, you're safe. For all the other reasons as well, not just children. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I would say for me, I put myself in a certain situation and I had to pay for it. But at the end of the day, it's still 50-50, you know what I'm saying? And I just realized that I take accountability, but at the same time, I'm like, I learned from it.
Yeah.
What I thought I did, because I ended up having another one.
Do you know what, I feel like there's a saying, and some people believe this, some people don't, but I don't feel like I feel like we choose our parents before we get here. It's a very spiritual.
That's very
spiritual way. And I feel like yeah, you can try all that you want to try to prevent things, and you can do cautious, but if someone's meant to be here, they're actually going to be here, and there is a purpose and there is a reason, and sometimes we don't know, we might not know it in this lifetime, but at some stage in your spiritual journey there will be an alignment. Do you understand?
Imagine that how I'm saying it like that, but I wouldn't want to change that. So God, thank you for giving me a beautiful son, my youngest, and living in America with an American accent. Thank you for giving me a beautiful daughter. Like, I'm sure when the time's right and we bond, it's gonna align. Like, I wouldn't want to take that away. Like, I might want to change the mums if it was a computer game. Let me pick the mums. Like, can we just swap the mums?
Can you have more?
Like, can you not give Beyonce the love, like, you know? But generally speaking, the children, all day long, my arms are wide open to give unconditional love to my children.
No, listen, I feel like conversations like this really, really matter. And your honesty will travel way beyond you, because you are a voice that is giving something that is happening all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it happens all the time. And as I said, I have a lot of male friends, and I've seen some really tough situations and fighting just because they want to love on their children.
Listen, I'm not sure if you've seen that meme that there's the guy from Jamaica and he's like, me love you, Marsha. He's like, Marsha, please. Like, women will have you outside the house like some madman. Like, please, I just want to see my child. Yeah, please. Like, I was like, no. She don't, like, you compromise a lot of self-respect. Why do you think a man's just in a Spider-Man suit on Buckingham Palace? What do you think this is? Like, man, we do anything for our children. So it is a very serious thing. Like, it's a very emotional. People will commit suicide. I mean, like, once you have that emotional attached to unconditional love to your child, we as men, like, that is the one trigger that will really destroy us. And I think some women know that, and they press those. Yeah, and I think that's wrong. And we don't have a court system set up. People say, yeah, go court, do that. Yeah, I know guys that go in court, pay, and still going through the dramas. And even for me, people are like, bruv, go to court. And I'm like, I was going to go to court. I was geared up for court and all of that. But court gives me PTSD. How about that? How about I've been that road, man? That's been in the crown like these guys.
Yeah, and also, so it was like a bit of a money spinner.
Number one. Yeah. And number two, just the emotional drag. So,
stress.
So after dealing with all of that, and then like getting geared up to go court, and then I just like, you know what?
But I've seen people go to court and they do a court order and they say, you have to see the kid on this day. And then the mum don't stick to it anyway.
Well,
and then you sort of go back to court. It's very...
Well, I've been getting geared up to go court, and then I'm not allowed to see my child. And then it's like, yeah, so then you're like, okay, right.
We don't need court.
I don't even need to mediate. And then it works for a couple of, that time I see my child and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm getting there. And then, pew, the carpet gets pulled under your feet again. And then back again. And it's like in and out over the years. And it's like, and then until I'm just like, no, enough is enough. For me, and I love my children, but for me, I had to just put my mental health first and be like, right, the door is open when it is full consistency. Not block them or anything, but the door is just open, and it's going to be the mother to actually step and be like, hey, you know what? I'm ready to co-parent and I'm ready to do this properly. There's no games. This is the times. This is the days. This is what she's been like at school. This is what's happening. Right, I need some money for this. I need to do this. We need to work out this fee. And I'm in my child's life. Not this like, yeah, send me the money. But I ain't got no access to no child, no nothing. What is this? What's this, a hostage? Yeah. Like, pay the money. Like, oh, you're not going to see your child. Yeah. Like, we're not doing that.
It's crazy. I feel like, honestly, there's a lot of scope for a conversation about this. Like, because it is just so familiar.
We get friends, family members, we've seen it tons of, and I feel like when I watch some podcasts about, parenting podcasts and then, baby father, baby mother comes up, baby father, children's mother, we a lot, and I don't get me wrong, I sympathize because my mother, has come from my mom was a single parent. My dad is, is a good man, not gonna put my dad down, but he was in the music industry and, he was living his life and his story is different. He doesn't know his dad. Okay. So it always falls down why these men are the way they are. Yeah. But there's no excuse if you really want to be in your child's life. So, but a lot of the women are cussing because there are the guys out there that are not stepping up. But we're not talking about the women that don't.
Like,
yeah. And I feel like there's not an even playing ground on that side. you know, everyone just bashes the dads.
I hear you. And I feel like, because obviously I speak to a lot of mums and I speak to a lot of dads as well. Like, I'm always saying, like, we're not here to put a dad down and point out what he doesn't do when we're talking about the weight that mum carries. It's a very different conversation because dads are carrying their own weight.
Sorry.
Yeah. And also we're in a day and age now where I think dads are meeting mums in the middle, you know, like they're meeting them in
There's some great dads that are even question your parenting. They're like, yo, I'm like, raw, yeah. And I'm like, am I a rubbish father? I might need to step up. Like, what's going on here? Like, so there are things that next level, but then we all, because obviously I've not had a dad around, like, as much as I was when I was younger. He's around and we're very cool. So for me, I feel like I've broken the cycle. I've been with my child from 0 to 18. You know what I mean? All the step of the way, co-parenting. We've had our ups and downs with his mum, but we managed to grow this child and he's turned out to be an amazing, loving child and we're proud of him. And so for me, I've broken the cycle. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I was my son's age, I was in prison. Do you know what I'm saying?
So when you think about it, it's like, do you know what? No matter what happens, man's winning.
And I'm sure he will do better than me.
Yeah, but I feel like that is the goal. And I feel like when I look at my daughter sometimes, I feel like, wow, what would I have been like if I had me as a mum? Not trying to say I'm the most amazing mum, but what I give her, I feel like if I fuck that, but then that's not the reason. The reason is for her to then go do great things.
So we are breaking the chain and we're anything. Yeah, so we're cycle.
That is commendable, like, honestly. Okay, so listen, you have
thank you.
Gem after gem after gem after.
I know.
I want you to just give some of the listeners like one piece of advice that you would give them when juggling music and being a dad at the same time. Like, because I remember, I can't remember who it was. I think there was a rapper one time and I saw him and to me, I felt like he was aging out and it's like his son was in school and his son's friends were watching him on the YouTube and it was very techie. Yeah. It wasn't like, you know, like, so is there like a cutoff age that you should, do you know what I mean? Like when you're on the come up.
It's funny because I still try to think I'm cool to my son and he'd be like, you're cool, you know, but I get away with it. When I'm sending him birthday messages from Big Nasty, Dave and all that, he's like, yeah, my dad's the man. You get me? But
you are the guy. Well, I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about, you know, when you're at the stage where it is maybe not working, like, is there a time when you say...
Yeah, I personally think there's not a cut-off point. I think we just need to add more things to the table.
Okay.
I just don't think that anyone should give up their passion. It might not make you money. It might not, you know, be where you want to be within it. But I just feel that, you know, you got to bring other things to the table that kind of compensate for the other things that it's lacking. Yeah. But still driving your passion, because that's what makes you tick. This is what therapy, this could be mental health stuff for people. It
feeds the soul.
It feeds the soul.
You don't feed it.
But don't be, like, you can't just be out there blind. You know what I'm saying? Because you will end up at the betting shop drinking tenants and you will be the statistic.
Tenants. You need a timeout. You need a timeout for the tenants, man, because I know my mum used to drink tenants.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You've
I'm so sorry. I hear.
Terriers with a straw.
Yeah,
special brew.
Oh, we got it. Yeah, hey, baby, yeah, you know.
No, listen, it's been amazing talking to you. Right? Honestly, you have been an amazing guest, and I'm sure that people will listen to it and take a lot of gems. But just to, sorry to cut you, just to say that my advice is, as being a father in the music industry, please, time. It's all about time. It's about how you juggle your time. That's what I've learned. Don't, you know, from my first from my first years of living with my son, from up to 3.5 years, which is very important, I feel like I didn't give enough time with his mum and as a family unit. And I think that's what I ended up chasing throughout afterwards and ended up making all the wrong decisions with all these different women. So do not end up in that situation. Please give time. Crazy, because when you say like that, it sounds like it's like you had everything already.
It was.
You had it all.
It was set, but
the timing was off, man.
The timing was off for me, and I was still learning about myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? So no fault to her. She was going for her own stuff. I was going for my own stuff internally, and my child was there, but I just didn't have the tools, like, you know, emotionally to deal with what was in front of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that if I had the tools, I would have been maybe a better father in that little gap. You know what I mean? But I got there and, you know, got great bond with my son.
Do you know what? As parents, one thing you have to understand is there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
No.
Like, you're always going to there's always going to be something you could have done different. There's always going to be something you could have done better. It's exactly how it's going to be. And you can give your child the best start, and they're still going to get to a stage where they probably need therapy and have to unpack some shit because something
along the way has triggered the way. Yeah, nothing.
When I went to therapy, my mum was like, "What happened?" She was like, all these like negative things.
My family ban out therapists for that. No, I go for. I got a therapist. There's no shade.
No shade.
Yeah, because hello, I'll be walking on the edge, like many a times on the edge. So I needed to bring myself.
When children understand it makes you have a better understanding of what is in front of you.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that is going to be for every child, no matter what your version is. The children,
they give them all the
everything,
all the money in the world, everything out, and they still will have issues. This is the world we're living in.
100%. Yeah, and so I agree with that. And I'm proud of you for doing therapy, man.
The therapy saved my life.
Yeah,
in many ways. In many ways. Yeah. So.
No, I hear that. I feel like we need a part 2. We definitely need a part 2. Definitely need a part 2. Well, I'm going to try and do a close. I don't know how we close after that, because that was magnificent.
Thank you.
I would like to say that after listening to today's conversation, I'm sure you would have taken something away with it. I want you to definitely check out Maxwell D's new project. It's going to be on emotional intelligence, which is really fitting for the conversations that we had today. And I'm really looking forward to listening to myself. But yeah, I'm your host, Nyah. This is the Parent Playbook by Tribe. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
The Parent Playbook.